Everybody, how you doing? Happy Thursday. No, wait, it's Friday. It's Friday. I hope everybody's doing well and this two-channel stream is working. I decided that since we have so many of these crazy, fun, and unique long cornets in the shop, I talk a little bit about them, but also do a live noodle session because I haven't done one in a while. So if you have a song request, you can post them here. If you have a general question about the long cornets, you can post them here. Josh and Patrick will be monitoring the channels. Josh might be on YouTube and Patrick might be on Facebook. So after this video is done, if you check the video description on YouTube, we'll have all the links of the horns that we're playing. So I hope everybody is doing well. And the horn you heard at the beginning is this one. This is a Conn 10A. Now, you might, if you're not familiar with what a long cornet is, there's definitions of long cornet. Now, originally, the long cornet around the 30s was something like this, which really just meant a non-shepherd's crooked cornet. In fact, somebody on our YouTube page asked about a carol cornet that we sold, asking about why is that a long cornet. Now, back in the day, prior to 1955, we'll say, or even the 40s with the Conqueror cornets, which we'll show you, long cornet meant non-shepherd's crooked. But Conn, I still think the Conn is probably my favorite American brass company because they had so many ideas and thousands of patents and just amazing, amazing concepts. They came up with something in the 50s that I really dig. And we have actually maybe 4 or 5 of these in the shop actually, which is really cool. This is the Conn 10A Caprion Victor. Now it looks like a trumpet, but you'll notice it takes a cornet receiver, because if I try to put that trumpet receiver in there, it doesn't really fit up. The point being with these horns is that someone who was a cornet player who wanted to still have the vibe of the cornet, but sit in with a trumpet section, could play this horn with a cornet mouthpiece. And that would satisfy the people who wanted it to look like a trumpet. It would also satisfy the need for the player to have their concept of the sound. The coolest thing about these horns, and we'll talk a little bit in depth about them, is that they weren't really trumpets and they weren't really cornets in terms of the nature of the sound of the instrument and the way the sound palette is incredibly diversified from super bright to super dark. Bruno, how are you? And Joe, I see you as well. Bill Wasserman, thank you everybody for tuning in. Happy Friday. This horn was a small bore. It's that famous Constellation, we'll call it, bore. Although Conn later made a short model Constellation cornet that was 485. So there's a lot of different models in the Conn line. But this is that 438 bore. And this is my TA1 mouthpiece. And I'll just turn off this talking mic and play a little bit. You got that right, TGIF for sure, even though all the days are blurred now. Even though this looks like a trumpet, it has a trumpety sound, but it's a little darker. So let me play a few Arbans things on it so you can hear it. I'm going to turn off the talking mic and just go to the regular trumpet mic, which is just a raw ribbon mic. even just in that one mouthpiece, you have a really wide sound spectrum between getting it nice and crisp and getting it pretty loose as well. So yeah, how cool is that? And that's that Coprion bell. Now, Conn made this in a 6 configuration and a 10 configuration. The 6A, for the people that are out there who are interested, because it doesn't tell you the model, the 6A had a copper lead pipe and a brass bell. The 10A had a brass lead pipe and a copper bell. And we've had variations of both. I prefer the 10, and this one's actually one I took on a jam session a few days ago, and it felt so good. But I actually prefer the Constellation cornet, and you'll see that in a bit as well. But if you have questions, post them in the comments. If you have a song request, post them in the comments. I probably won't be able to play it, but either way. And just a shout out to everybody who's watching. Thanks again for your great support of the shop. We're keeping on trucking. The appointment slot on our web store is a way that you can come and hang out with us, and you and my staff will stay safe. But let's show you the earlier variation of that. The earlier variation of these long cornets, and I have a YouTube video of this horn up, and this is a 40A. 40A, it's the Conqueror model, or Vocabell. You'll see that this horn has no rim, no bell rim. It's actually a 2-piece bell, and it has a very thick second bell flare right there. They say in their ads, which I love, vintage ads and modern ads have not changed, by the way. You know, everybody is telling you that these horns will play higher, faster, and louder with an equal amount of I won't say BS, but there is some BS. My favorite was the York Airflow ad, but Conn, when they put out the 40A, and this was the first one, the mid-30s this horn came out, and probably one of the biggest proponents of the Vocabells in a modern context was the Ellington trumpet section. So if you watch the Trumpet Kings video and you see Freddie Jenkins playing, he's playing a 40B, the trumpet variation. But they said in their ad that the Conn Vocabell was 20 to 25 decibels louder on a recording. Okie dokie. But needless to say, this was the first of the long cornets. Again, it's shaped like a trumpet. In this case, it's shaped like one of the smaller pea shooter trumpets. Now, a lot of the early 20s and 30s trumpets that are shaped like this are very bright and aggressive and somewhat nasty, actually, in terms of the sound. There are a few exceptions to that, which are the Martin Handcraft Troubadour, which is the horn that Louis Armstrong played in the Shine video, and the Vocabell. Let me again turn off this mic and play this horn. Now I have a longer video on this particular horn on YouTube, and we'll probably link it up after the fact in the description. No, it's not a bright sounding instrument. If I put a lead trumpet style mouthpiece in, it will actually be fairly bright. This is the thing that I love about these cornets. But they have an incredibly diverse sound profile. But very beautiful. Everything about this horn I love. The twin tube lead pipe. Oh, well, that's a new dimension from makers like Selmer or Monet. Now, Conn did it in the 30s. How about the direct air column valves? Courtois did that in the 80s. Yeah, but Conn did it in the 30s. How about a rimless bell? I know Eclipse did that. Yeah, they did. But Conn did it in the 30s. So everything I think recently I saw a video where somebody said that Adams just copies other instruments, and there are a couple of horns in the line, the A6 and the A9, that are inspired by vintage designs. Like the A6 is definitely a Constellation inspiration, but the lead pipe's different, the bell's different, the bracing's different. The A9 is very close to a Martin, but we tweaked a couple things to make it play better. But even so, the great companies take the inspirations from other companies and then build on them. But anyways, it's all about long cornets today. Hold on. I don't really know if I know this. Okay, no, Freddie Hubbard. But is the volume on the microphones okay? Just say yes or no. But so what came first, the short or the long model? Of course, the short cornet. I have in the shop, probably the oldest cornet I have in the shop is a Boston cornet, which is from the 1880s. So definitely that cornet came first. But I think the thing that I personally love about the long cornet is just the diversity and the thickness in the sound versus just what you hear with a short model. I always feel like short cornets, the Shepherd's Crook cornets, they don't have the front of the attack that I like. Now, of course, most people play Shepherd's Crook cornets, and that makes sense. But this is the thing why we pride ourselves on having so many horns, not just Adams and not just Schagel, but we have so many different horns and models and makes and new, used, whatever, because there's something that will fit each individual person the best way. So let me show you the horn that I really love. Oh, I'm going to show you, I have like a few other interesting cornets here that are all what we consider the long cornet, but this one's a recent acquisition in my collection, and I absolutely love it. Now, there's a couple things that you'll see. So, oh, please send Bobby my best regards. I had a few lessons with Bobby years ago, and just amazing. So, Bobby he really is a gift. And the whole trumpet world would agree to that. So, I hope he's doing well. So this is the Constellation 28A. Now, Constellation 28B, let's talk about that. That was a horn in the early 1950s that they made. It was a medium-large bore, though. What I know, and I'm not sure this is 100% set in stone, Conn started experimenting with the long-style cornet in the mid-1950s, 1954, 1955. They put a cornet receiver and they had the tapers inside like a cornet, but still a small bore. And someone at the factory was like, that's so great, why don't we try it with a trumpet lead pipe? And that's what the trumpet Constellation eventually became. Now, I'm not totally certain on that, so that could be folklore, and if it is, I like it. But this one is pretty cool because it's silver-plated. You don't really see silver-plated Conns. You usually see the nickel-plated horns with the lacquered slides. But this one is silver-plated, so it's obvious. I'm pretty sure it's been replated, and also has a motto-style keys. But super versatile sound. Super versatile sound. Logan, good question. The only one that I know that is in production now, when you say long cornet, I'm not talking the non-Shepherd's version, because there are a few. Edwards makes a really nice cornet that's not Shepherd's crooked. Eclipse, I think, has made a couple, but the only horn that's sort of shaped in a long style, Blackburn makes an amazing, what they call open wrap cornet, and I know the military band used to have them with trumpet receivers. So again, it fits into the section. The section. I think the conductor was like, I really want cornets, but they didn't want to play like the Shepherd style cornets. So they eventually had these made. I think they had 5 or 6, maybe even 8 made for the military band, and they're awesome. I actually had one and sold it to my old college professor. So it's unbelievable. But yeah, super versatile horn. If I put a small mouthpiece in, I'll put a small mouthpiece in and push it a little bit. How are you, brother? We miss you, man. We miss seeing you. You have to come back and have some barbecue. That was so much fun when you visited Independence, of all places, and Casey, of course. Yeah. But that's the thing. And if you put something deeper in this horn, let's see. I have a whole bunch of mouthpieces here. This is this, and I'll see if I can show it to you without it. Trying to get my head out of the way so you can see. Okay, there you go. That's my TF cup, and this will sound really beautiful. Hey, Steven, thanks for your note. If it's a sentimental thing, then there's some really great texts. Josh Landris, Mike Del Quadro. It depends on where you are as well. I just mentioned Mark Metzler, Rob Stewart. Blessing cornets don't really have a lot of value in terms of like a monetary thing, but if it's a horn that means a lot to you as a personal instrument, then yeah, there's a bunch of texts. You can always email us at info@austinCustomBrass.com, and we can either refer you to one of the techs that we use and subcontract, or a tech in your area. So, but how cool is that when you put this deeper mouthpiece in? So I hope you can hear that. The fact that just with a slight, well, it's not really a slight mouthpiece change, but with a mouthpiece change, you can go from a really creamy, thick, almost flugelhorn sound to, hope you can remember what that first sound was. So you can go from this really thick trumpet flugel to the lead trumpet's sort of bright and brilliant sound really quickly. But this is a live noodle session, so if there's a song in particular you want to hear, post them in the comments. Hopefully I'll be able to check them out and play them. But, and I have another long cornet that a lot of people don't know about. Hold on, I'm going to grab that. Oh, I wanted to show you this. Anthropology, coming up. So that was the 40A. You remember we did that earlier in this little live session, and I have a YouTube video on that. The 40A had a bigger brother, the 48A. We could see the difference in wrap. Now this one's super tarnished, but you can see the difference in wrap already. It's much more of a modern style, even though it has that 12-sided valve casing and everything. Just so awesome. This horn is, this and the Busher 400 are my two favorite vintage trumpet designs. So much energy went into these instruments. It's, again, rimless bell, but a larger bell to mention. That's a smaller bell on the this is the 48, this darker one, and you can see, hold on, it's a pretty significant difference. That being said, I actually like the 40, the way it plays a little bit better than the 48. So, anthropology, huh? Okay. This one has the short taper too, so you need to have a shorter tapered mouthpiece, which I don't have, but it will still play okay. Definitely have shop chops, I apologize. But, yeah, that's cool. And, Stephen, the thing about this, and I love your comment, value is, I mean, there's some subjectivity, but when a horn is sentimental, what's the value? Like my Clark Terry flugelhorn, which is right over there, there's no price you could buy it for. Seriously. Well, $5 million maybe. If somebody wants to pay $5 million, we'll talk. But that's a horn from Clark. It's like my hero. So, but it's hard to really decipher what a value is, other than, well, you can go on eBay and check out completed listings, or you can go to shops like ours and say, okay, well, Austin Custom Brass or Jay Landrus Brass, another great brass store, Dylan, Washington Music, whatever, you know, some of the greater brass stores in the States have it for these prices. But anyways, if you're just tuning in, today's a Long Cornet day. This is a cornet. It doesn't look like a cornet, and it doesn't necessarily play a cornet. I did play the 28A. I'll play it again. But Logan, you could pick the song. So if you're just tuning in, these instruments are not trumpets. And I wish I had a 38B, which that's the trumpet equivalent, by the way. It's not the 28B. The 28B, which we mentioned before, was a medium large, a totally different configuration trumpet. This one's near the end of the Elkhart period, like 1966. Like I said, someone did a really good job on the restoration. It's been re-silver plated, and then they added the Amato keys. But if you aren't familiar with the live noodles session, all you have to do is request the song. I might know it, I might not know it. Theme from Battlestar Galactica excluded. And this is for my buddy Josh. He knows. He used to live right near the Polar factory. So Polar Seltzer. So they sell that at Costco now, which is unbelievable. But this particular horn is not for sale. Sorry. But we have, for the 10As, we have maybe 5 in stock. For the 40As, we have 3 or 4, 1 silver and 2 or 3 lacquer. We also have a few in the repair room getting prepped for repair. The 48A, I think we only have that one, but we do have a 48B as well. And we also have B versions of the 40s, the trumpet style. But, all right, I'm going to play a song. If nobody's going to request songs, please request your songs. And if you have, if we had another 28A and it sold, but to be perfectly honest, although I love this horn, I think the 10A has more of the vibe of what the Long Cornets are. So Giant Steps, sure. You know the lyrics to Giant Steps? Have you heard the news? Giant steps in giant shoes. There are lyrics, actually, which is kind of scary. Wait a second. Great question. First and foremost, if you're looking at Conn instruments, my friend Christine Dirkson's Conn Loyalist site is a treasure trove of information. I'm just spitting out stuff that she did all the research on. But easy thing on the trumpets or cornets, and I'm not sure I'll be able to get into this because my camera's far away, but if you see right there, see the letter A? That indicates that it's a cornet. If it has a B on the receiver, it's a trumpet. Underneath on the older horns, you'll get, you're not going to be able to see that. I should be able to zoom it in, but I don't have 3 hands. There's a 40A, 40, which is the model, and A, which is cornet. Other horns, which I still have a horn. I just redid the website a couple days ago. But other horns will say it, and I'll show you an exception to that. So, okay, Giant Steps. Let's see if I actually could play today. kind of kidding about the field so good. But it's funny. We had also, why are one of trumpet players? I love Chuck Mangione, actually. And he played with Art Blakey, so he's obviously a great musician. But I didn't bring my hat. That's why I can't play Chuck today. So, and I'm looking, oh no, I didn't bring my Chuck hat. So, but, and I got to work on jazz. But either way, if you're just tuning in to the crazy randomness that is my live feed, thank you. I appreciate it. And we're talking all about long cornets. Long cornets, which are not trumpets, which shows, I want to show you this one, because this is super cool. And this one is for sale. This is an old Mendez. Rafael Mendez, old Mendez. Now, Mendez never played cornet. To my knowledge, he might have played a cornet when he was young, but he was obviously a trumpeter, and arguably the greatest trumpet players ever lived. But old, they were onto this long cornet train as well. And Old's made some really cool cornets. The Super Cornet is awesome. I love that horn. Recording Cornet is great. The Studio Cornet is actually really sweet. A lot of the older olds, pre-1956 Conn and Old instruments required slightly different shanks, the end of the instrument mouthpiece. But this horn, this is how it tells you it's a cornet. Let's see if I can zoom in. I'm going to try. Oh, sorry. Can you read that right there? Cornet. So, yeah, crazy zooming and back and forth. But Old made this horn for that clientele, the people who played cornet and were still wanted to play cornet, but wanted to make sure that they didn't stick out when they were in their band performances. You know? Cornet. Just kidding, but here. And no goatee, no, I'm fine. But wouldn't long cornets take cornet shank mouthpiece as a quick way to identify them? Yes and no. Because of for instance, the old studio cornet, which it's not in our descriptions today, in today's video. It's not this style cornet. That actually takes a flugelhorn taper mouthpiece. So you can't really say, oh, it takes a cornet mouthpiece, it's a cornet. Conversely, Buscher made a flugelhorn, and Conn made a flugelhorn, early 20s, 30s, that both took cornet mouthpieces, but they were definitely flugelhorns. So you've got that going, where you have these different companies putting out all these different products. I think really what you want to see and hear, obviously with the long cornet, you see a trumpet. The visual is you see the trumpet. But what you hear in the sound shape is different. It's not trumpety. It is, and it can be, but it's more work to get it to be bright. But what you get when you just play it really relaxed is something like this. what you get is definitely something that's thicker, has a little bit more core, and it has definitely a different vibe. Even, like I said, this looks like a trumpet, but it doesn't play like a trumpet to me. And none of these horns play like a trumpet. They're a little bit more work to play. They're a little bit more challenging to play. I picked up my Adams last night after playing the silver 28A for like 3 or 4 days in a row without playing my Adams. And then I went through my routine with my Adams, and I sort of laughed because the Adams was so much easier. But the sound of the 28A is super cool. I mean, the diversity is super cool. It has this awesome vibe to it. You know, I picture mid-60s Freddie when I play that horn. Hold on, I'm going to grab it again. And if you have a song request that's not Feel So Good or Feelings, let me know. Put them in the comments. It has that vibe. It has that. There's just something really cool and funky about it. So that's why I love these horns. So we have to go to the shop part. I'm not in the shed at all. I need to be. I'm sorry. So much going on, trying to run a business and all that. But I did play a session a couple days ago with real people. I mean, how much do we miss live music? We miss that experience of trying to, you know, talk and converse in a musical way with people. It's a bit strange because, you know, you've been working on all your chops and you've been focused on your thing, and then when you get to a group of 6 people trying to make something together, it's totally different. But which version of Well You Needn't? Hopefully you know there's more than one version. I'll wait for your answer. Lalo, lalo. So, but which version? And what I mean by that is there's a Miles version. Everybody plays the Miles version. Donna Lee. Okay, we got some songs coming. I like it. Miles. The melody is also different, Josh. A lot of people don't play the right version. What I just played, that first one, was the Monk version. So, Chet plays the Miles version. Everybody played the Miles version. That's how powerful Miles was. But, yeah. But if you want to hear that, that's cool. I love that song. Oh, I'm sorry. This is trumpet mic. So, The closest flugel that's equivalent is the 631, but it's not really. I think our horn is in between a 631 and a 635. It has the resistance of the 635. It's got a little bit more compactness, but there you go. Just email us, and Josh, who's monitoring this chat, will. Oh, I don't think you could put our email address in because you're not me. So I can put it in, though. Hold on. And then I'm going to play some Donna Lee. Of course, why not? If you email that, then we can talk to you about our flugelhorns. Or call us. It's even better if you call us, to be honest. Riveting, I know. But if you call us, that's actually the best way. Donna Lee. Switch mics. Again, if you're just tuning in, it's a long cornet session. That's not a trumpet. It's a long cornet, and it's live noodles. So, hey, John, how are you, my man? So, I did post the email, but it might have blocked it because sometimes you can't, on YouTube, you can't post links. They block the links during the live chat, but you could just, if you just type in Austin Custom Brass, you'll find us online pretty easily. So, and I'll play Donna Lee on the 10A because this horn's awesome. Switch mics. Oh wait, that's the original. And again, thanks for watching. This is Live Noodles, talking about long cornets. I need to catch my breath because I was doing too much circular breathing and my nose is stuffed. But oh, Johnny, thanks, man. That's a really wonderful compliment. It's hard to play horn right now because of all the requirements of the shop, but I'm still trying to get my daily practice in as much as possible. Oh, someone asked, maybe it was you, Hazen. Hold on. If I can, I don't know if I can see the comments, but I have a upcoming mini lesson planned on how to keep some chops going during COVID between gig chops and actual performing chops. But and I think I just did something recently, but I can't remember. That's how tired I am. But the only drawback, I think, and here's the thing. This sounds like a big plug. Man, the long cornets are awesome. But I said there was two drawbacks. One, they're not as easy to play as a modern trumpet. They're just not. Two, when you play fast, they don't tend to slot as well as a trumpet. And I'm going to grab, if you hold on, I'm going to grab a trumpet here. And it doesn't really matter what I grab, but I'm going to grab, I think this is an A10. I got to look. Yeah, this is an A10. So what I'll do, and I have two different TA1s here. One is acrylic and one is metal. So, and you can see when I play a metal mouthpiece, I get red on my chops. So I was playing this TF and then this lead mouthpiece just briefly, and I get red. So, but oh man, Hugh Masekela. Now that's someone that is super underrated. But I'll play a little fast on this, and then I'll play a little fast on the A10. And what you'll hear is a clear definition in the A10, I hope. Switch off my mic. Again, you're tuning in. Thanks for watching. Sorry for the total randomness, but I decided we had a couple customers ask about these long cornets, so I decided to do this video so we can share it with them even if they're not on the stream. Trumpet. Hey, Rolf, we talked a little bit about that before. With the long cornets as Conn, it can be unclear. They are neither trumpet nor cornet, and that's the thing that you want to understand. If you want a brass band cornet, get an Adams, get a Besson, get a Yamaha Neo, get something that actually fits that vibe of what you're going for. If you want to play trad jazz, this actually would be great, but the King Master or this Reynolds cornet that I bought off Byron Autry's estate, that's a great cornet. A little crisper, a little bit more punchy, things like that. The long cornets are a little, oh no, it's no problem about joining late. I'm so happy you're here and happy for all of you joining in. But the one thing that I will say is that the long cornet is neither. It's not really trumpet, it's not really cornet, it's kind of in between. It has this thickness of a cornet, but it also has the punchiness at times as the trumpet. So it's a little bit of both. It's really hip, but like I said, with all good things, there's a little bit of a drawback. There's not one perfect thing. We've tried so hard to make the perfect trumpet, either, you know, when I've done work with Adams, and it's like everything will have some sort of sacrifice on the end. So with this, that's what you get. You get that really beautiful sound, the thickness. You get this really beautiful feel with a long cornet, but you don't get the precision. You don't get the pop. You don't get the centering like you do. If I do like even just if I play like an excerpt, I'll play an excerpt on both, starting with the trumpet, just like Goldman 1 even. What you might hear, I hear it here, and I'm kind of mad at myself. I should get rid of it. But I hear this thud in the attack on the cornet. Now, I will say that the A10, I play a horn, the two Adams trumpets that I play, I have the A1, the new redesigned A1, and I have an A2 with an A10 bell. But the resistance on the A10 lead pipe is not working for me. That's why I have that custom horn made for me. But, like I said, if it's something that you could deal with, I think as a small group horn, that horn is awesome. I'm pointing it and you're not seeing it. So, that horn. Or the 28A or the 6A. There was a point where a few years ago, you could buy these super cheap. A lot of people didn't know about them. And then the prices have gone up. But even so, there's this one I think is around $800 in the shop. $800, and it's really, really fun. And it's a great playing horn that's tight. Yeah. And like this Vocabell is like $850. So they're really fairly priced and really tremendous instruments. Robert, how are you, man? It's always good to, I'm sorry you unfortunately have to see me, but it always is great to hear from you. Let me put this back, and if you have a couple more comments and questions, post them here. I'll be right back. I just want to put this Adams down before I drop it, because that's been known to happen. Riveting. I know that was riveting, sorry. But you might say, what's the difference between an American style cornet, this is like a Reynolds non-Shepherd's Crook cornet, and then the Conn. Well, I'll play those, and so you can hear those. If you have a song request, it's even better, though. While you're putting your song request in, I'm going to enjoy some more of my Polar Seltzer. I should be sponsored by Polar. But that also brings me to another point. Someone in a recent video said that I asked for a free horn, and I will say I've never asked for any free horn in my life, and I pay for my Adams that I make with the factory. So we'll just drop that right there. But in the meantime, I'll play this cornet. I don't know if you can hear a difference. Hopefully you can. This is not a super great room to record in, but the microphone at least is decent enough to probably hear a difference if you're listening with headphones. But yeah, so that was a tour of some of the long cornets we have at the shop. If you have additional questions, you know how to reach us. info@austinCustomBrass.com. Call us 816-410-0826. We are always here for you. Thanks to my great staff who are monitoring the chat while I was doing this, and also working in the back, shipping out horns to y'all. Hope you have an awesome weekend. Stay safe. Stay vigilant. Drink more Polar. And until the next time of the live noodles, we'll see you then. So, ciao for now. See you.